Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the video. I hope your day has been going great. Mine's been awesome so far, and that's right. Today we are finally doing it. The highly requested top 10 big brain Overwatch League players. Yes, that's right. Sty the guy, he has been suggesting it since, I don't even know, summer. Almost every single video, it's been getting upvotes, and it's been spreading and spreading and spreading. So I figured it is time to do it. Today we are going to be taking a look at my top 10 big brain Overwatch League players. Now, before we hop into this, let me define what I think big brain means. Now, of course, when you're thinking about the players' brains, you're thinking about how smart are they. So the biggest quality for big brain players, in my opinion, is how smart is the player. How much does he outplay his opponents? How much does he rely on his brain more so than compared to relying on his mechanics? Now, of course, there's going to be incredibly skilled mechanical players on this list as well, but I believe a lot of these players, or every single one of them, definitely are one of the smartest in the league, and they have displayed it through multiple moments, and we'll go over those as I cover each player. Now, just remember, guys, I'm not going to have the same exact list as you. We might even have a completely different list. Let's just remember that this is opinion-based, and you do have the right to respond down below in a comment letting me know if I am right or if I am wrong, and letting me know what your list is. So do that. If you're excited to continue to stay updated on all Overwatch League news, updates, whatever it is, be sure to subscribe to my channel. And now, without further ado, let's go ahead and count it down. Now, again, this list is really tough because a lot of these players are very smart, and it's hard to say who is smarter than the other, so it's going to be a little bit random. Starting off with number 11, yes, because I needed 11 players on this list. I couldn't just do 10. You'll see why later on down into the list. But starting off with rank number 11, we have Gesture from the London Spitfire. Now, Gesture is an incredible main tank, and not just mechanically. He is one of those players that knows his job and completes it. If you take a look at the finals against Philadelphia Fusion, his job was to sit on top of EQO and sit on top of Carpe. While doing all of this, he didn't look like the all-star, right? But he was doing his job, covering what his team needed, and this is what he did all season long. Of course, if you tie that into his incredible mechanics, Gesture was probably the best main tank all around throughout the entire season. Of course, up there with players like Fisher, Mano, Fate, and others. I've talked about this one specific thing throughout the entire season, though. When it comes to main tanks, the biggest thing you want to be able to do is survive. And nobody in the Overwatch League that plays Winston survives like Gesture. He absolutely has the best positioning, in my opinion, out of any Winston in the Overwatch League, and that is why he is on my top 10 list for big brain players. Now, moving on to number 10, we're going to have Note from the Boston Uprising. Note was a huge surprise coming into the Overwatch League for many of us. No one expected him or the Boston Uprising to be one of the best teams, but matter in fact, they were one of the best, and they even had a undefeated stage. Now, a big thing about that undefeated stage, in my opinion, was Note. The way he positions himself in team fights is phenomenal. He plays like the middle ground in between his supports and in between his divers or front line, and because of this, he can always make the right mid-fight decision on what he needs to do, whether that is falling back and making sure he kept up his supports, or going forward and making sure he kept up Striker or Gamsu. Of course, Boston Uprising, they were a bunch of misfits, but the fact is, a lot of them were mechanically skilled, and it helped them make a really big push in Overwatch League Season 1. But if it wasn't for Note's incredible decision making on when to fall back, when to go forward, and when to throw his diva bombs, I do not think the Boston Uprising would have been as successful as they were. There's a reason a player like Kalios, who reached 5,000 SR in the Chinese ladder, sat out over Note. It's because the guy was so damn incredibly smart. He just knew his role perfectly within the Boston Uprising, and that is exactly why he is number 10 on this list. Moving on to number 9, big brain players in the Overwatch League, we have Custa from the LA Valiant. Now, Custa is a player who is very underrated just because of the role he actually plays, which is main support. Main supports in the Overwatch League don't get a lot of attention. They don't get talked about by the casters, they don't get talked about by the analysts. Sometimes here and there Reinforce would mention them, but it was always about the DPS, it was always about the tanks. Obviously, unless you were Jonak, but Custa isn't Jonak, and he started out Season 1 on the Dallas Fuel, and going through all of the drama with them, he was still able to climb out of it, join another team, and reach the semifinals. And that's why Custa makes this list for me, because he was so smart to be able to get out of that situation with the Dallas Fuel and come out on top with one of the best teams in the Overwatch League at the end of the season. Now, if that's not one of the smartest plays of all of the Overwatch League, I don't know what is. If you ever watch some of the Dallas Fuel's YouTube series videos, while Custa was still on that roster, he was always the only player that was extremely level-headed. Sure, Siegel was there sometimes, but he didn't get much face time because obviously he was on the bench because Kingmykl was the coach at the time, so that was a whole mess. It was all Custa. He was the one always talking, keeping a clear head, trying to keep everybody on the same page and focusing up, even though his team really never did while he was there. Then, of course, as I said, he moved on to the LA Valiant, and he played great for them. So that is the reason why Custa is going to be number 9 on my list. Now, moving on to number 8, we have Poco from the Philadelphia Fusion. We all know why Poco's on this list. We don't even have to mention it. It's going to be his incredible bombs. Going into Season 1 of the Overwatch League, nobody really expected Poco to be as good as he was. He had some hype around him, but not the most. And starting off with day 1, game 1, his diva bombs were incredible. The positioning, the arcs they took, you knew he took time prior to the Overwatch League to sit in custom games, practice the angles where he wanted to throw them. Countless hours were put into that, and throughout the entire season of the Overwatch League, it showed how much hard work he put in. There's no doubt in my mind that there is nobody in the Overwatch League as good as Poco when it comes to positioning diva bombs and getting as many kills as possible at the biggest moments. Again, it is named the Poco Bomb for a reason. Of course, he has other incredible things about him, his positioning, his aim, all of the above, but those bombs, they're insane. Now, moving on to the next player, which is number 7, we have Fury. Yes, another diva player, guys. A lot of you guys don't realize this, but diva is such a crucial role when it comes to the team. And a lot of us think, oh, diva, it's super easy. You just fly around, shoot, press mouse 1. It's the easiest thing in the game. Hold your matrix, done. It's easy. No, it's not that simple. It's actually one of the most intricate roles within the game. And that is exactly why we still see diva get 100% playtime for over the past 2 years. And no one in the league has been able to show better gameplay on diva than Fury. And this only started to come out recently when everybody started using the Overwatch World Cup viewer to watch Fury's POV. It comes down to the little things he's doing, those mid-fight decisions that I mentioned. With note, Fury also does them, and he never makes the wrong one. If the way to win the team fight is to back up and protect his supports, that's what he does. If the way to win the team fight is to move forward and play aggressive, that's what he does. And the most impressive thing overall about Fury has to be his matrix usage. He's that one diva player that you play in ranked that eats your gravitons every single team fight, and always has his matrix up when you throw out your huge ability. It literally seems like Fury has a matrix hacks where it's unlimited and he never runs out because his management of it is absolutely insane. He knows when it is the best time during a team fight to use his matrix in order to soak up the most damage from the enemy team, therefore keeping his players live and more healthy. I haven't seen anybody else in the league manage it as well as him, and that's why I think Fury is the smartest diva and one of the smartest players in all of Overwatch League. Moving on to the 6th big brain player in the Overwatch League, we have Surefour from the LA Gladiators. That's right, guys, Surefour makes his way on this list, and it's mainly due to how calm he is. Now, when I say someone is a smart player, I don't exactly mean just in game. Yes, Surefour is super smart inside of the game, but when I say he's a smart player, I also mean outside of the game. The way he handles himself is pretty incredible, and specifically the way he does on stage. Whenever he's in a match, he's never raging, he's never upset, he has the perfect mentality, and we see this come out recently when he's been arguing with Siegel about the state of Overwatch. He has such a good grasp on how he needs to handle himself, and when he goes on the stage and stays calm, he is a absolute cold killer. It allows him to hit these incredible shots, and it's exactly why he won the Widowmaker 1v1 battle at All-Stars. He remained calm the entire time. You can see the adrenaline pumping through all the other players. Carpe, Striker, Saya player, they were all shaking, they were all like hyped up, it seemed, while Surefour was sitting there calm, relaxed, not even moving. Boom, headshot, headshot. Because of this, I think he is such a smart player for handling himself in that manner. Now, of course, inside of the game, we can't even forget about the great bamboozle on King's Row, where Surefour sat on Brigida, then swapped onto Widowmaker, destroyed the London Spitfire in their playoff match. That was an insane play. Overall, Surefour is one of the smartest players I've ever played against. His positioning, everything about him is great, and the way he handles himself outside of the game, you don't see in any other player in the entire league. So for these reasons, Surefour lands his way on my list. Moving on to number 5, we have another Philadelphia Fusion player, and it's going to be EQO. Now, I really struggled about putting Carpe or EQO on this list. The reason I went with EQO over Carpe is because of how damn flexible he was. Yes, Carpe was flexible, but EQO was like the ultimate flex in the league. Yes, I'm going to compare him to Prophet. He was the Western version of Prophet. Whether it was projectile, hit scan, tanks, EQO could play it all, and he could play it all at an extremely high level, and it wasn't just because he was so good mechanically, it was because he was so damn smart. The way he played Genji was amazing. We went from having Shadowburn on the Philadelphia Fusion, who would always save his Dragon Blade for the best perfect moment, and it took so long for him to use it, and then we threw EQO in there, and it seemed like he was doing the same thing as Shadowburn, but he was getting his blades out twice as fast, and that's because he knew the exact timing and position he needed to be in when to pop that blade in order to have the most effectiveness. I mean, straight up, when it comes to flexibility in the league, it's not all about mechanical skill. It's about how smart are you? How much do you understand how to play this hero in certain positions, in certain comps, on certain maps? And the fact that somebody like EQO can play up to 10 heroes on all of the maps, and it takes so much brain power to be able to remember what to do at certain times on all these heroes, all the buttons. It's crazy, guys, at such a high level. I'm telling you, EQO is incredible. Just think about it this way. EQO has won 1v1s against Prophet on Hanzo. He's won 1v1s on Widowmaker against Fleta. He's won 1v1s on Pharah against Hydration and Agilities. He's built up Gravitons faster than Spree. He builds his blades faster than Libero. Like, look at every single hero he's played, then compare it to the best player at that hero. He's done just as good as them. It's crazy. And that's exactly why EQO is on this list. Moving on to number 4, we have Bishu, who honestly, in my opinion, could have been higher on this list just because of all the things he did throughout Season 1 for the LA Gladiators. Guys, Bishu wasn't just an off-tank player. He was a translator, he was a shot caller, and he was a diva player who I mentioned earlier is one of the most difficult and intricate heroes to play in the league. And the fact that he was able to translate mid-game to his Western and Korean players while shot calling is absolutely insane, and while doing both of those, he was still able to maintain great diva play. Now that's just absolutely unreal and crazy multitasking. We've heard the stories from the players on that team, we've heard the stories from the casters and analysts inside the Overwatch League. They've talked about how much Bishu does for this team, mentality-wise, always being positive. The fact that he brings so much to the table and he has such a great mindset enables somebody like Surefour to be so damn calm and so focused when he plays. I think Bishu really was a big key to success when it came to the LA Gladiators during Season 1. And because he was able to do all of these things, he's definitely got to be number 4 on my list and maybe even higher. Now moving on to number 3, we have Seagull from the Dallas Fuel. The reason why Seagull is on here isn't because he did so damn good for the Dallas Fuel in Stage 4. It's because he kept afloat on the Dallas Fuel throughout the first 3 stages when the team was an absolute wreck because of Kai, because of the players, all the drama. Just, it was so bad. And the fact that Seagull remained calm while sitting on the bench of that team, then came in during Stage 4 and absolutely carried this team on multiple roles at the same time was absolutely phenomenal. Seagull probably should be number 1 on this list, but I'm not going to make him number 1 because he's not in the Overwatch League anymore. But for Season 1, Seagull absolutely was one of the, if not the biggest big brain player out of everyone. I'm telling you, the mental fortitude needed to survive through Dallas Fuels during all first 3 stages the way he did is insane, guys. And it's just, it has to be a crazy round of applause for him. Again, not to mention how well he played on the Diva, how well he played on projectile heroes. He was all over the place and just absolutely carried during Stage 4. And that's exactly why Seagull landed himself this high on this list. Moving on to number 2. You guys know who the last 2 players are. They're both so phenomenal. This was such a toss-up and hard to decide. It's Prophet and Jonak. Number 2 for me is going to be Jonak. Now, Jonak finds himself on this list because he is so damn good in general. He's literally a DPS carry in the support role. He plays so great every single game, and a lot of people give the credit to his teammates for being able to keep him up alive. But it doesn't matter how good his teammates are. You can put Jonak on any team in the Overwatch League, and he will still deliver DPS level damage on that Zenyatta. Again, people give the credit to his team, but his team isn't the one controlling his keyboard, telling him where to move and where to position. Jonak decides where he sits on the map, and he finds the perfect spots to pick up the biggest picks and to not get dived and die. It kind of reminds me of the Diva mid-fight positioning. They find the perfect spot where they need to be, where they can pill for the supports or pill for the front line. Well, Jonak finds the perfect spot where he can survive, but also get opening kills for his team. Nobody in the league on Zenyatta gets as many opening kills or as much damage done as Jonak does. And then with the amount that he survives is crazy. Yes, his team pills for him, and I know people are going to be saying that down in the comments, but he puts himself in that position and he falls back, he survives, objectives, he calls for what he needs, he asks for the resources. And that is the big difference between Jonak and almost all the other Zenyatas in the league. He knows when to and what to demand for his team at the exact time, and they listen to him. You'd be surprised, but there's so many Zenyatas in the Overwatch League that are super quiet and don't respond or call out when they need help and what they need at what times. And because of these reasons, Jonak is on this list at number 2. Now moving on to number 1, we have Prophet, which you guys probably would have been able to guess at the beginning, especially when I started talking about EQO. The way this guy is able to flex is the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my life. Every single hero Prophet has touched in the Overwatch League, he is number 1 in the stats at. And now you guys are going to tell me stats don't mean that much, Michael. You can't put so much on them. And as well as that, you're going to say, oh, Prophet's just kill hungry. He puts himself in a position where he can pad his stats, blah, blah, blah. No, guys. Prophet puts himself in the smartest position in the game so he can pick up kills for his team in order to win. I argued throughout the entire season 1 about Prophet being the best player in the Overwatch League, and I think by the end of the season, when Prophet made that clutch play on Volskaya with Tracer and Hanzo, everyone started to realize how smart and how great he actually was. And I really do believe, yes, Prophet is amazing mechanically, but the big reason why he is the best player in the league is because of how smart he is. The positions he takes and the timing that he uses his abilities and ults at is incredible. It's always the perfect time. He's always in the right position. He's always doing the right thing for his team. He's always cleaning up team fights. He's always getting those rip tires that in the fight win the map, the pulse bombs, the 1v5s, the 1v4s. Nobody does it like Prophet. He is the most clutch and the smartest player in the league in my opinion. Now, not everybody is going to agree with my list, which is expected. Be sure to leave yours down in the comments. Also, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel for more daily Overwatch League videos. Thank you for watching, guys. I'm out of here. Peace.